Today on Penny Dreadful, we talk about The Room. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, Dreadfuls. Welcome back to the Demi-Monde. Today we are talking about A Blade of Grass. Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. We're talking Penny Dreadful After Show. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. And again, we have a full panel. Ladies, introduce yourselves.
Hey, what's up? It's Angela Struck here. You can find me on Twitter at @TheAngelaStruck and on Instagram at Angela Struck.
Hey guys, it's Joelle Monique. You can find me on Twitter at Joelle Monique and on Black Girl Nerds everywhere.
Hey guys, it's Renee, and you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel.
Awesome. A Blade of Grass. A very self-contained episode, but amazing. Real quick thoughts. Angela, let's start with you.
I thought it was super hard to watch, heartbreaking, cringeworthy at a lot of moments, but I also felt like I got a really good grasp of what's going on now. There's a lot of good exposition, so great overall episode, great writing, but a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the darker the show gets, the more excited I get. I love all things witches. I'm glad to see Evil Vanessa back. That's really awesome. I can't wait to start diving into the show. It's amazing.
Yeah, I loved this episode. Very dark, and I love seeing Evil Vanessa as well.
Great.
Yeah, we got a lot of information this episode.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, fortunately, this episode really just took place in one
room.
location.
Yeah.
We only saw 3 people in this episode. We saw Vanessa, we saw John Clare as the orderly, and then we saw Dr. Seward. And I think that just shows for just the acting amongst these 3 to carry a full episode for an hour.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, I think the best way to tackle this episode is pretty much just go in chronological order.
Yeah.
Because a lot happened. Vanessa's still under hypnosis. And we see, because we saw the reveal cliffhanger of last week's episode, that the orderly is actually John Clare when he was alive as a human. But what were your thoughts of John Clare being somewhat of a friend to Vanessa during this time of her recovery, her therapy, in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, it so reminded me of when their relationship is later, once he's the creature, and he was in the dark shadows, and she was feeding him. And so he's taking care of her, he's showing her kindness, and I guess I don't know, guys. Go ahead. There's so much to talk about with it.
I love their connection. I think it's the same connection that they have with, Mr. Clare's afterlife, his current life now that we know him as. It feels like the same connection. There's no difference, aside from Vanessa not recognizing him, because Vanessa doesn't recognize anyone in the show. If they change a hairstyle, like Lily, she's like, I don't know you. Hey, I'm Vanessa. Every time. But I don't know. I love it. It felt very familiar, and it was just sweet.
Yeah.
I thought it was really complicated and messy, and at parts I really didn't like it. Not the writing or the show, but just the fact, like, the gentle hand mixed with being tortured is a really uncomfortable place for me, and watching Vanessa struggle through, who is this guy and what's going to happen to me next, and then the show does the passage of time better than most shows. You really got a sense of, like, we need to get out of this room.
Yeah.
It's too claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Their relationship turned out well, but watching that whole thing unfold was really crazy.
Yeah, you articulated that really well. It was a weird connection, and with the sexual nature of it, it felt creepy and off-putting at times. I agree.
Definitely. I definitely think one of the most off-putting moments of this episode was when he had to force feed her.
Oh my
because
gosh.
she's not eating.
That scene was really
So
hard to
hard
watch.
to
With
watch.
the noises.
Yes. It was painful to watch, especially me having TMJ, and like anything forcing the jaw is never pretty.
Yeah.
Watching it and what it sounded like was not fun. It reminded me, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Iron-Jawed Angels.
That's exactly what my first thought was.
Which coincidentally, that's a movie about women's suffrage as well. But there was a hunger strike in that film, and they had to force feed a lot of the women because they went on a hunger strike. But just the drastic extremes that she put herself through, because she was willingly not eating.
Right.
Yeah. And the fact that she went through that, painful.
And it kind of felt like a religious penance almost, like this whole like I'm gonna starve myself for so many days and then I'm gonna give myself over to my torturers and whatever God's gonna do is what's gonna happen. Which again, I'm liking this kind of flashback to old Vanessa and looking at like how she lost her religion and how she struggled with her faith.
Yeah, she has a lot of guilt about everything that happened, and she's making herself pay the price for it in any way necessary.
She is. I think it's interesting how, well, really, my question is to you. We see twice in this episode where Vanessa's asking what time of day it is.
Yeah.
And the first time, the orderly was like, whatever time you want it to be, which she first said it was night, which made me think that was her character at that state in the episode was more of a darker place, and then the second time around she wanted daytime.
Yeah,
she had hope.
She had to get out of there. Yeah.
There was a light at the end of the tunnel.
There was. And I think that plays off of that duality theme that like keeps going on in the show. And I just think her character of Vanessa from beginning to middle to end had an arc in and of itself, just in one episode.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think that just is a testament to the writing.
Do you know what the other reaction, just as kind of a side note based off your first question, but this show gave me that reaction that when you see a great play or a great film and you almost, it's like, I have to take it all in. There was so much going on. It's really hard to even discuss it, you know? There was just so much content and it was so overwhelming and shocking at times.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this though because it just shows like how much her character is going through.
Yeah.
We don't even know it.
Yeah.
Like, internally, let alone physically, because
Yeah.
she's all beaten up during this.
Yeah, it's interesting not to see the daytime guys that are handling her. Because she even says, when she first started talking about being tortured, I thought she was talking about being force-fed. But then she says you weren't there. And I'm like, what else are you going through? Like, this is a lot. Like, your nighttime things are just crazy. But to go through even more during the day and to see... kudos to the makeup team for that really gaunt look and having her go real thin and frail. Yeah, just torture is probably the best way to describe that.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. You were talking about how her perspective changed. She wanted she wanted night, and then she wanted day. He went into the situation saying, "It's not torture; it's science. It's here to help you."
Yeah.
And then to see how he evolved as time went on, and he continued to see how they actually really were abusing her in that way.
Yeah.
He definitely, as we saw the relationship progress over time for sure. In the beginning, I believe he was just someone who was caring in general as a person, but then the relationship developed over, I guess, the time that we
5 months, I think they said.
Yeah. 5 months.
And then he, I think, really developed a connection with her to the point where he was like, you need to fake it because you need to get out of here. We both need to get out of here. And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It was. And I think, developing the relationship between those two, because we saw at the beginning, he himself didn't like poetry.
Yeah.
But then we do see him eventually reading poetry. And then if you take it to John Clare.
That's what I was just
saying.
he loves poetry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so funny. He even described himself as not being good with his words and his letters and figures. And that's so much of John's persona. But even beyond that, the way John treats women and the way she was talking about, women either have to conform to a very rigid standard for society or they're labeled as crazy. He's like, my wife is neither of those things. She's like, okay, but isn't she? Doesn't she have to be one or the other? And we see the way that John Clare, after he gets over his whole, like, Lily obsession, he's pretty good with, like, women just as friends and being kind of comfortable with them and talking to them. So I like that they had an effect on each other that was that deep and lasting for both of them without even kind of realizing it.
Yeah. There were so many parallels between the orderly and then how we saw John Clare later on and kind of Vanessa's role, like how John Clare at the Wax Museum was this beast in a cage and they would throw in food to him and then she was now the beast in the box.
Getting food from him.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting.
I love the parallelism, and it's just really smart, and it just shows how much their character can literally do a 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, but you know who was there? Lucifer. The first appearance, that was shocking scary.
Chills.
And
Oh my gosh, I
confusing.
know.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? Was John Clare in his former life like into some weird things? I didn't at first recognize that to be a possessive state, and I wasn't 100% sure what was happening. That was the second time I was like, oh, okay, Lucifer is like channeling
Using
his
the
body.
body.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think we're all in agreement on that, right?
Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely.
not like
I think
John
it's-
Clare
no,
is
no, no.
it. Yeah. they're
At
just
first I thought
using
it was, though.
Yeah.
At first I'm like, what?
What?
Yeah.
And they gave her that whole gentle hand, like rough natured. I was
exactly.
like, please don't do this to her. This is horrible.
Yeah.
But then I really thought it was genius how they brought all of that together.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant how they coincided it with also like more so juxtaposed immediately after that just a quick moment of him of Lucifer. We get Dr. Seward saying, "I'm trying to snap you out of your state.
Yeah, and you won't.
You are literally stuck in your state, your fugue state with Lucifer right now. There's nothing I can do. Only you can bring in that." And I think even that added effect made it way more scary.
Yeah, because they're
totally.
stuck there. She can't get out.
Well,
and
it's-
she's in that room.
reliving the nightmare of like not
Yeah.
being able to get out and being trapped.
Oh
and
my
being,
gosh.
Like, I'm claustrophobic. I don't like tight spaces. I can't even imagine.
It's interesting, too, that you brought up the fact that Vanessa was saying you either have to be one type of woman or the other, because Dr. Seward and Joan Clayton were not one or the other. And, you know, she has this beautiful relationship with her, telling her, be true.
Be true.
You know, Joan Clayton, I guess people would argue she was cast as crazy. You know, people identified her as crazy, but Dr. Seward's not that way. And she's a very strong woman. So
Clayton was crazy?
no, I mean they called her a witch.
Okay,
They
I
burned
gotcha,
her.
I gotcha.
Crazy.
We're back, we're
I'm
back.
saying,
I was like,
I didn't think she was. I'm saying society called her
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Whereas Dr. Seward's a strong woman that isn't thought of as that way.
And yeah, and I love that moment because, you know, connecting Dr. Seward to Joan Clayton's character just shows that Vanessa also still has a strong female person in her life right now that can help her through this. So in a way, just another, you know, anchor for her.
Yeah, it's definitely what she
needs.
needs.
Yeah.
What she needs. But then after that, we see her in the same room, but she's now like muzzled like a feral animal.
Oh my gosh, I hated
So hard
that.
to watch.
Oh, and then when he took it out and her mouth was just.
Locked.
Yeah.
I know the pain. Not like that, but.
How long were you in a straitjacket?
You know what I mean? But like,
Muzzled.
when your jaw's in that much pain, you can't move it.
Yeah.
I know that pain.
Yeah.
But we also learned that John Clare's wife at that point, because they call him the orderly, and I don't think we know his human name at this moment yet.
No.
Right.
So we'll just call him the orderly for
It's
now.
not protocol.
Yes, his wife is named Marjorie. We're learning a little bit about him and his family and his son.
Who's sick, just like John.
and 8 years
Yes.
old.
Yeah.
At 8 years
The
old,
age seemed about right.
reading poetry. What did you think of this moment? Now the orderly reading poetry to Vanessa.
In hindsight, I really like this moment of like you are still the person. Like, I recognize that you're not crazy. I recognize that you don't belong here, but I don't have the power to change the situation that you're in. So I really like this, like, maybe I can encourage you. Like, I will put makeup on you. I will give you the face that you remember so that you can come back into yourself. And it works, which is kind of the most miraculous thing. Like, how is this guy who's just trying to make a human connection doing more than these doctors who are like, we just got to cut her brain up. We just got to, like, soak her in water and, like, she'll shiver herself into sanity.
Yeah.
As one does.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I thought too when we were saying it's at times like, is this a weird relationship? But I thought by saying it was Christmas, made it so beautiful and sweet that it was his present to her, and that, you know, he couldn't bear the thought of her having Christmas alone, shivering in a box
in the room by herself. Also, you know, just the whole action of him putting makeup on her, showing the mirror, combing her hair and whatnot. I love this moment of him just having her be her true self, and the whole mirror because we saw in last week's episode, Vanessa says she doesn't like mirrors. But the fact that the orderly showed her mirrors, like, no, you are beautiful inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
And told her not to forget her true self, which is the same advice that she said Joan Clayton would have given, which is be true.
Be true.
You know, stay true to yourself, all of that. So
Yeah. I think it was interesting, the poetry book that they were reading, A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson, which was published in 1885. So again, yes, that does line up with the timeline of Penny Dreadful. But the poem that they read was My Shadow, which I think the whole theme of the poem is really someone just always sticking with you, whether they be dark or light.
could be a bad or a good. I mean, the evil stays with her at all times,
Always.
but then
Yeah.
God does too, I guess. And, but I guess she also was concerned that God couldn't find her in that box, in that room.
Very
so.
true.
Yeah.
I think it was just the theme and the message of the poem that they're reading like really relates to her life.
Yeah.
Big time.
So, but speaking of reading, if you guys haven't heard, you need to know this. I know, and I'll let you. But there is something important here at AfterBuzz TV that keeps the lights on, and one thing we really need to tell you about is Last Star. And so, what if today was the last normal day of your life? Cassie Sullivan thought that she knew what tomorrow would bring, but she was wrong. We were all wrong. The first wave took our power, killing 500,000 people. The second wave put that number to shame with tsunamis that destroyed everyone within 100 miles of the ocean. Goodbye, coastal cities. After the third wave, only the unlucky remained, survivors of a virus that left only 3% of the world still standing. In the fourth wave, the others became us, inhuman beings hiding behind human faces. At the dawn of the fifth wave, we had to choose: give up, get up, or get up and fight. But that was only the beginning. In these last days, Earth's remaining survivors will need to decide what's more important, saving ourselves or saving what makes us human. Rick Yancey's #1 New York Times best-selling novel, The Fifth Wave, introduces us to a group of young people struggling to survive in the aftermath of a catastrophic alien invasion. Its sequels, The Infinity, and the newly released The Last Star, follow them through a series of battles and betrayals as they fight the ultimate war between life and death, hope and despair, love and hate. Entertainment Weekly calls the series remarkable, not to be missed under any circumstances, and urges fans to just read it. I want to read it.
Yeah,
It
sounds
sounds
good.
super interesting.
A lot of parallels to
I
Penny
want it.
Dreadful.
Oh, I know.
Yep, and also USA Today hails this as the modern sci-fi masterpiece, and best-selling author of The Passage, Justin Cronin, raves in his New York Times best review, calling The Fifth Wave wildly entertaining. The highly anticipated finale is here and will leave readers stunned. So, what you guys need to do is learn more about the Fifth Wave series at fifthwavesbook.com. Again, that is fifthwavebooks.com. If you love reading, like we all do,
Oh, yeah.
I certainly do, go to fifthwavebooks.com.
Check it
I know what
out.
I'm doing after the show.
Right?
Sounds fascinating, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I want to
really
read
does.
them. I really do, because they sound amazing.
They do.
And they totally sound up our alley.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's what
that
I was
is
just
our
thinking.
Why not?
A woman that has to choose to fight or give up is like, oh.
What makes us human?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So go to fifthwavesbooks.com. All right, so let's get back into it. After Christmas, whatnot, we see there was a beautiful shot of Vanessa. She was literally, the camera was on her for a good 20 seconds, and then we saw that one tear roll down. Like, amazing
Powerful
acting.
scene.
Oh my goodness, amazing acting. And then the next time we see her is that she is now by herself again, but she actually strips down and tries to connect with the orderly.
Yeah, that was an uncomfortable scene.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I was really like, please don't let this happen. Please
Oh, I
don't
know,
let this
me
happen.
too.
This is not good. It's not like healthy. Like, neither of you needs this. I was really, but I like the way that it happened though. Like, that being her only human contact, the only person who treats her with any kind of niceness, the fact that she thinks she's going to die in here, her actions are completely understandable. And I'm glad that John was able to, like, or I should say the orderly, was able to contain himself and be like, look, I'm your friend, I'm here to help you, not to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
very concerned for a moment.
Me too.
I think it was surprising. I mean, it was good that he resisted at first, but then he did let himself be vulnerable, but he called it off because he is still very loyal to his wife.
I know, that's what I kept thinking too. I'm like, your wife, you love her.
You have a family. You have family.
You have a kid. What are you doing? Yeah.
And he's not in a power position, so that really crosses the line for him to be having a romantic relationship with one of the patients.
Yeah.
But I saw it more so from Vanessa's point of view that she just wants human connection.
Sure.
She's been by herself this whole time, and she just needs someone. And she's lonely, obviously.
Right.
And she's saying she's only been with one man in her life.
And it was Mina's fiance.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that guilt is eating her up, and I think it's that human connection. She wants to be touched by someone who wasn't, again, Mina's fiance. That's the reason she's in. I mean, not the reason she's in there, but that's what kind of had her lose it from that experience.
But isn't that when her parents kind of dragged her there, like right after that incident?
Because she lost it.
She
became
it.
crazy.
She went insane.
Well, because
I mean, not insane. She got possessed, basically.
She did.
Yeah.
That was another crazy one, isolated kind of episode for that. That was amazing. Sisters episode was fantastic. But yeah, I'm glad it didn't go any further.
Yeah.
Me too.
So,
Yeah.
But again, we had another reference to Joan of Arc.
Yes.
yeah.
Even back then, because technically this does take place before, this is a flashback, this whole thing. And but even back then, her character recognized that she was very much like Joan of Arc. Smart. Brilliant.
Yeah, I liked the whole, I should have died singing. I should have died a virgin like Joan of Arc. She died singing, and then I'll sing as they cut me open. I was like, girl, this is whole next level dramatic. Like, it's a lot.
She wants to be a martyr, you know?
Totally.
She really
And
wants...
she is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, in her mind, probably the best way to get back with God. Like, I am martyred myself.
Exactly.
Like, I can sacrifice everything in order to be back in your good graces.
You're exactly right. That's,
I thought it was painful just listening to the orderly saying the exact procedures of how the surgery is about to go down.
And then when we saw it in season 1, when they, oh my gosh, that scene was my least favorite scene. It was so, I mean, it was a great scene, but it was so graphic, and watching it, like, I remember watching it and how cringe, oh gosh, it was the worst. And when he was describing it, I just had the image in my mind. So terrible, so terrible.
Yes. But then we had a terrible moment where he turns into Lucifer.
Ooh, this
The
is
second
so
time.
great.
And
this was amazing.
This was probably the climax of the whole episode, but a lot went down in this 5 minutes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Everything
I
happened.
finally really understood the whole show. I feel like in this one scene.
Absolutely.
I finally get, okay, so there's the one master that's Dracula, there's Lucifer, there are two brothers, the different sides of the coin. One's the soul, one's the flesh. I finally got it all.
One rules the earth and one is below.
Yeah. So I thought that was very well done. The writing was just amazing. The
So
way they
good.
really kind of laid it all out for us.
I agree. I think it's brilliant because there was a lot of exposition in these 5 minutes that were so needed, because I think in season 2 when, they introduced, the two brothers and whatnot, it was very convoluted. And no one could really make out exactly what the plan was or who really was involved in all this. But they're like, okay, X, Y, and Z, now you understand.
Here you go.
Yeah.
But I like that we need that. Especially this is kind of a simple episode. Very straightforward. So it's good to tell us important information straightforward.
Yeah.
But the whole fighting of Lucifer, and then we get Dracula into this.
And he brings up the wolf too, needing the wolf. That made it all clear too.
I thought it was
Where
really
Ethan comes
strange
in.
how weak the devil seemed. Like, we've been really scared of Lucifer.
Yeah.
Like, season 1, he's such a powerhouse of a being, and you can't escape him, and it's directly with God is it kind of set them up as the devil versus God. And then to see how quickly Dracula could just come in there and be like, furniture corner, my space now. I was like, this is crazy.
Do you think it's because Dracula rules the earth? So he's more powerful in this realm?
I think it's a couple of things. It's definitely that this is his space, but I also think it's when he was talking about the belief. He's like, people aren't going to believe me forever. We've got science now. But they can't deny me. I'm here. I eat them. So I am the apex predator of this planet right now. So I think the devil, I feel like I have to watch rewatch season 1 now because I want to see that kind of desperation of being like, you have to be with me because if you believe, others will believe.
Yes. I agree with that. I liked how you brought that up too because I have it in my notes too. The fact that the Dracula was so much more powerful in this, and Lucifer literally coiled.
Yeah, in the corner.
Recoiled into a corner.
Yeah.
Like, who's really the upper hand here? Who should we be more afraid of?
Right.
So, do you think Dracula is more powerful?
I think Dracula. I would say Dracula.
As of right now?
As of right now, yes. I mean, maybe if it was in a different situation in a battle, but I don't know where Lucifer would be more powerful than Dracula, considering all of these scenes would take place on Earth with people
Or
in
the
bodies.
Demimon, though. I wonder if in the Demimon,
True.
that's why we saw Lucifer as kind of this more powerful being, because they were always going to that underworld.
Yes.
I think the other thing is Dracula is drives people by lust. Which is a very strong power and emotion. I think more so, arguably, than spirituality at times. Just
Maybe not necessarily where it comes to Vanessa, which is why I think it's interesting. And Lucifer was just so instantly like latched on her because she wanted so badly to be like a good Christian and be steadfast in her faith. So I think the more like it'll be interesting to see now. Like, does Vanessa return back to her faith now that she understands where she sat between these two guys? And that God hasn't abandoned her, but just you can fight them. You have the ability.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, she
maybe
does.
that's why.
Right? Yes.
Maybe that's why they like her, because she is so spiritual, but she's very lustful as well.
Yes.
I mean, she's a very sexual person,
Absolutely.
but she's extremely religious and steadfast with her beliefs. So maybe that's why Dracula and Lucifer are so obsessed with her.
Are always fighting. And I love Lucifer's line, embrace me with your own volition. But we see she doesn't do that because she finds her faith for a quick moment and she starts praying. And again, because we saw even in the beginning of the episode, God has left her. Her faith has left her. She didn't fight hard enough. And now she is. And she's praying. She's found her faith for a temporary amount of time. But I love this because she goes into the whole Verbus Diablo again.
Oh my gosh, that scene, I
Fantastic.
know. Her
Yes.
voice when it gets like that.
You want to see evil standing
good.
right here, and I was
I
like,
know,
this
like,
is
Vanessa.
everything. I missed this woman so much.
She was like, unleash it.
Yeah.
Just like, bring it on.
I am here, evil. Here it stands. Wow. I don't know what the heck she said, but it was awesome.
It was
It
so
stopped
awesome.
them in their tracks too.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I loved that moment.
They backed off, yeah.
Yeah. And, oh, wow. I think that was just the brilliance of this episode. It was very slow, if you think about it. It's a slow build up to what the amazingness of this 5 minutes was.
Yeah.
We were glued, right?
Yeah,
like,
I
I mean, I
it's
couldn't.
intriguing because it's so dark, and
Yeah.
you're just waiting for what's gonna happen in this
Yeah.
terrible place, and then all of a sudden they're like, all of this, so much information, Lucifer,
Yeah.
Dracula. It was intense.
Yeah.
No, Lucifer and Dracula called each other brothers.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Dracula in this iteration is a fallen angel? Or
No, Dracula's not a fallen angel. I think it was more brothers and just a term
In
of
evil,
endearment.
like-
You know,
Oh,
like
How
sister,
sweet.
we're sisters, you know. But like,
gotcha.
I think it's more so like brotherhood kind of
Interesting.
camaraderie.
I'm curious as to their relationship. Like, how long has this like back and forth been going? Like, was there a time when Lucifer was more powerful and now Dracula's like trying to play some power game of like, look, this is my time to shine? Like, I really want more information about those two characters.
Yeah,
Possibly a throwback episode.
I'm down.
I agree because even before Dracula came into the picture, Lucifer was talking to Vanessa, like, let's go back to a time when it was just us. It
Yeah.
was just you, me, and, God.
And they were crawling
So,
to each other.
It just, like, begs the question, like, who's been around longer, Lucifer or Dracula? Who's the more
Or
powerful
Vanessa.
one? Yeah.
I've got to think Lucifer, right?
Yes. I want to say
Because
Lucifer
if-
just because of the...
Yeah, biblical
actual
context,
story.
but then also if Dracula is the beast of the flesh, then or father of beasts, then there would have already had to be beasts on the planet, where biblically Lucifer is before all that, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fallen angel, I guess.
We need another episode with exposition.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Please.
I don't know. Yeah.
Just to answer our questions. But I think that's the fun of it, you know.
Yeah.
We keep watching to find out those answers. But after all that, we go back to equilibrium, and she's kind of back to normal. We see the orderly back to normal, and but unfortunately he's leaving. He's resigning, which this was actually pretty heartbreaking.
It really
Gosh,
was.
yes.
Very
That whole
heartbreaking, but it
episode.
made sense for the John Clare character because we know him to have been a fisherman,
Yeah,
sailor of some sort. So, yeah, that was hard, and to see her there, like V for Vendetta with no hair is not that
Gosh, that scene. And again, back to the surgery. When I saw her bald head, I'm like, oh, it's happening
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it did. And she didn't know it was going to be tomorrow, and he dropped that. And she was like, oh.
But he had one of the best lines. Like, the last person you see before your surgery is someone who loves you. Aw. And I think that's exactly what she needed at the moment.
Gosh,
like,
yeah.
a friend.
Yeah.
Not an orderly,
Kindness.
someone
Yeah.
who actually, cared for her.
Because her parents had stopped visiting her. I mean,
That's
she
true.
really had no one except for the orderly, and it was a really sweet moment.
It was. Joelle.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it because I might cry. It was just so, like, to be that low and to have someone be kind to you, but know that something terrible is going to happen to you. Like, there's nothing anyone can do to stop it.
Yeah.
You have no control over your life. I mean, at least you have this friend who's like, I'm going to be here to support you through it, but to not have any other options, those mental headspaces, I don't know how you get out of those or move past them because there's nothing to do but to confront the issue. So that was a really powerful scene.
Didn't everybody want the orderly just to grab her and
I was
get
like,
her
"Sneak her
out
out."
of there?
Yeah.
I
I'll
was
be
like,
gone forever.
you don't
They're
have
leaving
security
anyway.
cameras and
Right.
things. Like, get
If
her
they
out.
did, they would have seen some weird
Weird
stuff going on in
What
there.
is going on in that
Doesn't
room?
she
To take
floated?
out the rest of the
Yeah.
security.
Yeah.
They could easily escape. I don't know. I thought that too. I was like,
Yeah.
the door's right there.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Get her out.
But fortunately, Vanessa does snap out of her fugue
Yeah.
state. And she says, I remember everything. And she's not frightened anymore, but his name is Dracula.
Yeah.
Or as you know him, Dr. Sweet. Wake up, Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa.
Look around.
Wait, girl, I have a question. Was the voice the same for Dracula and Dr. Sweet when he was, when Dracula was speaking to her in the room? That voice, was that Dr. Sweet's voice?
I want to say it was actually a mix of both. And I
Yeah.
think this goes into the production aspect of, which I want to talk a little bit about.
Oh.
But the sound production aspect of the
Such
show.
a good sound episode.
Yes, it was. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It really was.
But I think the first moment when Dracula started speaking, obviously his voice was low.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might have dubbed both the actor who plays Dr. Sweet
Combined.
and
John Clare.
together to have that same effect. They also did that in Lord of the Rings. Which
That
is
sounds
brilliant.
right. It
Yeah.
sounds because I
They did that on
kept
Lord
hearing
of the
like hints of Dr. Sweet's voice,
Yeah.
but it wasn't 100%. So
And then I think the whole scene with the whole showdown, I think that was actually John Clare's, or the orderly's actual voice.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
It became more his character. Brilliant. But that I think that kind of takes us into the sound design.
Yeah.
The scratching of the
Oh my
walls.
gosh,
So
that also
good.
I could not.
Congratulations,
with the
Foley
scratching.
artist. You did it.
So good.
That
Better
was
than nails on a
amazing.
chalkboard.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was.
Yeah.
That was a noise.
Yeah,
That was
just
a
so
noise.
fucking
But it was
And-
intense.
and
Her
the door.
face.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
when
gosh.
the snakes started going in the shadows on the walls, I felt like you could hear the snakes slithering. It was just creepy.
I love the snakes and also the bat wings.
Bat wings,
For-
yeah.
I think that was the only physical indication to show the audience like these are two completely different people, even though it's being played by the same actor.
Right.
I think that was smart. It's something subtle, but something visually.
And the
visual,
voice
too.
change too helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I loved how they filmed it. Just
Yeah.
because it's so hard when you're literally in one location to make it, look different and have different feels throughout the episode. I think the film Room, if you've ever seen that one.
I
Yup.
love Room.
So good. I mean, that's a small confined space as well. Go watch that movie. But it's the way that they, cinematography-wise, to make one location seem interesting for a full hour. I think there were a couple shots where she was on the bed. She was right next to the wall. That took up literally half the screen. Just showed like the isolation and containment of that room.
Was it just me or did it
shooting
feel like
down with the lights? And
that was really great. It felt like the room size changed frequently to me. There were times where it felt like really big and then really small, and I liked that kind of disorientation feeling.
There was a quick shot where when Vanessa was literally in the corner and she was all wrapped up and bound and whatnot, and there was that overhead shot of the light, and she's in the darkness, and here the orderly literally takes her out of the darkness and pulls her into the light.
Ooh.
Brilliant.
Really great shots in this.
So good. Quick 3 seconds, but I saw it. And also, back to the sound effect, the door. Every time they opened that door,
it sounded
scary.
so heavy.
Absolutely.
Heavy. But overall, anything else about this episode? There was...
I think Dracula is going to be pissed at that one guy for bringing it up because now she's figured it all out.
I know.
All she needed was that little... You met him in the room, and now she's onto him.
Yeah,
I know.
She's going to have her radar up.
If she notices him again, she doesn't remember people that well. So, actually, one scene it was at the end that I forgot to mention was when she was talking to the orderly about like, would you have your son pretend to be happy when he's not? And then she was talking about not wanting to pretend, but then right before that last scene, she's like, I did pretend, I did try, and that just broke my heart because she did try to get out of there, and she still has to go through that. Just to end it on a positive note.
No, but this was an amazing episode, and I think every season of Penny Dreadful has their one episode that's so self-contained. You're in one location, stuck with one or two people, but that shows the amazing acting of Eva Green.
Oh my gosh, she's the
acting of Patti LuPone. And oh my goodness, I think how does she not have an Emmy yet?
I know. Hello, hop on that.
She was nominated last year.
She was nominated for Golden Globe.
Oh, okay.
But
didn't she win? I thought she won something. No, she didn't win anything.
Not win.
Well, Academy, get on it. Whatever the Emmy group is. Are they still the Academy? I don't know.
HFP.
Give her an Emmy.
Yeah.
She's playing possessed devil.
I like to see
have you seen the show? I mean, come on.
Hero, everything.
Yeah.
So talented.
So good. This episode was just amazing on all fronts. So, I think that takes us to predictions.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. Well, we see in the previews of next episode, we get our normal cast back. We get Ethan, we get Victor. What do you think is going to happen with Victor? We see he's working on the patients. The whole eye and the needle.
Yeah, I can't with that. I already know next week I'm going to be cringing again.
I'm ready.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Renee, you were having a hard time.
I can't. That was just the preview. I'm terrified. I can't with anything needle sharp going to eyes. I can't watch. But I will.
Because we love the show.
Because I do love Penny Dreadful. I will watch. Whew.
But do Victor and Dr. Jekyll and whatnot, do you think they've made more progress with their experiments?
No, but I think we're going to see them experiment more.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're going to start seeing some competition between the two of them, which I'm really excited because when Victor called him out and be like, I mean, I know you can't, but I will. I was like, it's going to go down. That guy's got a bad temper.
Oh, I see. I think they're going to work together and get even closer because I definitely agree with a lot of our viewers that there is some kind of
romantic relationship. Oh, yes.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe they compete, but I kind of think they'll still have this flirtation going on. And
we've been friends for a long time. There'll be a friendly competition.
Yeah.
But in the way that only a friend can hurt you. I feel like it's kind of the situations we're going to be getting into.
I don't think friendly is the best word. But yeah, I definitely think there's
Just
definitely some rivalry is definitely going to go down. But Ethan, I just want to see Ethan and Sir Malcolm finally meet up because they're still in America trying to like chase each other. But hopefully we'll get more on that front and how Katsune plays a part in all this. And I just want to, hopefully at the end of the season, this is like a far prediction, but at the end of the season, they're at least all together.
Yeah, I want Ethan and Vanessa back together.
In London. Everyone back in London.
Yeah.
at the mansion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, okay, we're
I
good.
know.
We're
Yeah.
Be safe again.
Let's never part ways again.
Yeah, we learned our lesson.
Yeah.
Because we lose who we are
Yeah.
without each other.
They need to be true together.
True together. I love it. And on that note, in the meantime, where can everyone keep following you?
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Renee Ariel.
I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me everywhere at Joelle Monique. And this week on blackgirlnerds.com.
And I am Angela Struck, and you can find me on Twitter at @TheAngelaStruck and on Instagram at Angela Struck.
Yes, and you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here on AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun places. Keep rating, keep commenting, keep subscribing. We read all the comments. You guys are fantastic. Tweeting at us your predictions and your facts and whatnot. I love it. Keep it coming. We love the show and we love talking to you guys. So keep talking to us. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.